Scorpio, I am feeling an incredibly heavy, almost intoxicating energy pulling at me right now. This is not your average, everyday connection. What I am tapping into here is ancient. It feels thick, mysterious, and deeply transformative. This is the kind of bond that doesn't end oppos. Just knock on your door and ask to come in. It is the kind of connection that kicks the door off its hinges, enters your life, and completely rearranges your internal furniture. You might be feeling this in your bones. It feels like you've been marked by something or someone, and no matter how much logic you try to apply to this situation, the energy just completely defies reason. You feel it, but you just can't explain it. This karmic connection, it was designed to break you open. It was designed to shatter the illusions you were holding on to. Welcome to your reading, Scorpio. If you are new here, my name is your name, and I am so honored to read for you today. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back to our sacred space. Before we dive into the depths of this energy, please remember that this is a general reading. Time is an illusion, and energy is completely fluid. Take only the messages that resonate deeply with your spirit, that give you that undeniable gut feeling, and simply leave the rest behind. Do not force anything to fit. If it is your story, you will know. It will feel like I am reading the pages of your own secret diary. Today, we are doing something a little bit different. I have channeled 9 specific, hidden messages, unspoken truths from this person and Oppo's higher self, or perhaps the universe itself speaking on behalf of this fated bond. I am going to reveal all 9 of these messages to you right now, just to get the raw energy out on the table. We are not going to dissect them just yet. I just want you to feel the weight of these words as they come through. Take a deep breath with me. Ground yourself. Let's look at the first message. Okay, wow. Just letting those sit there for a moment, the energy in the room has completely shifted. It feels thick, almost like walking through water. There is a deep undercurrent of obsession, magnetic attraction, and inevitability here. You can run, they can run, but the universe has seemingly tied your spiritual shoelaces together. All right, let's go deeper into this first message. Let and Oppos peel back the layers and really look at what is happening beneath the surface here. This says, I recognize your soul from 1,000 lifetimes ago. Scorpio, the moment this person entered your energetic field, there was a visceral reaction. For some of you, it might have literally been eye contact. The eyes are the windows to the soul, right? And as a Scorpio, you naturally peer into the depths of people anyway. But when you looked at this person and when they looked at you, it wasn't and Oppos. Just physical attraction. It was a spiritual collision. It feels like their higher self leaned forward and whispered, there you are. I and Oppos, we've been looking for you. This person may not be consciously aware of past lives or reincarnation, but their soul absolutely remembers yours. There is an eerie familiarity between the two of you. You might find yourselves knowing exactly what the other is going to say, or you feel this strange comfort with them that usually takes years to build with someone else. But it and Oppos, also terrifying for them. Because when you recognize a soul from 1,000 lifetimes ago, you also subconsciously remember the karma attached to it. You remember the endings, the beginnings, the pain, and the ecstasy. This person is incredibly drawn to you, completely magnetically pulled, but they are also deeply intimidated by the weight of this familiarity. It feels fated, and fated things often strip away our illusion of control. Let me go deeper into this energy with the second message. This says, this silence between us is screaming with unspoken truths. I am sensing a lot of distance or perhaps a period of separation right now. For some of you, this is a situationship that went completely silent, or an ex where things were left unsaid, or maybe just a physical distance where neither of you is speaking your absolute truth. But Scorpio, this silence is not empty. Some silences are dead. This silence is loud. It is deafening. You both are communicating in the 5D. You might be feeling their anxiety, their longing, or their heavy thoughts right before you go to sleep. You might be dreaming of them vividly. In the physical 3D world, they might be playing it cool, acting stoic, or completely ignoring the situation. But energetically, they're screaming. They're holding back so much intense emotion, fear, desire, obsession, regret, because speaking it out loud would make it real. It would make them vulnerable to your power. And Scorpio, You hold a lot of power in this dynamic. Your intuition is picking up on everything they are trying to hide. They are trying to mask their feelings, but their energy is leaking everywhere. You know they are an and oppos, T indifferent. You can feel their eyes on your social media. You can feel their energy hovering around you. The silence is just a shield they are using because the truth is too massive for them to articulate right now. Let's look at the third message, because this really ties into why they might be hiding behind that silence. This says, you triggered a shadow in me I couldn't and oppose, T ignore. This is the core of the Scorpio energy, the Pluto influence. You are the catalyst for their transformation, whether they wanted one or not. When this person met you, your light and your intense depth shone a massive spotlight directly onto their unhealed wounds. This connection was designed to break you both open, but for them, it feels like an absolute emotional excavation. You didn't end oppos, T even have to do anything intentionally. Just by existing, just by vibrating at your authentic frequency, you triggered their insecurities, their fears of abandonment, or their fear of true intimacy. They looked at you and saw everything they deeply desired, but felt they didn't and oppose, T deserve. This is classic shadow work. Sometimes, when a connection brings up our shadow, the instinct is to run away from the mirror. You are their mirror, Scorpio. You reflected back to them the parts of themselves they had buried deep underground. They might have reacted defensively. They might have pushed you away, created chaos, or completely shut down because the intensity of looking at their own shadow was too much. But the beautiful, tragic thing about a karmic or destiny-driven connection is that once the shadow is illuminated, it cannot be unseen. You have permanently altered their internal landscape. Even in the silence, even if they are physically far away, they are doing the work. They are tossing and turning at night, forced to confront the ego, the pride, and the emotional walls they built. You broke through their defenses effortlessly, and it completely terrified them. But it was necessary. The universe brought you together precisely so this triggering could happen, paving the way for a massive spiritual death and rebirth for both of you. And that visceral reaction, that intense triggering of the shadow we just talked about, flows perfectly into the energy of this next message. Because when you trigger someone that deeply, the energetic cord between you two doesn't end oppos. T just dissolve because they walk away or because there is silence. In fact, it usually thickens. Let end oppos. S look at the fourth message here. This says, I feel you pulling my energy, even from afar. Listen closely to this, Scorpio, because this is where the power dynamics in this connection become incredibly clear. You might be sitting there right now, minding your own business, entirely focused on your own healing, your own life, maybe even actively trying to detach from this person. You might not be reaching out at all, but energetically, you have a gravitational pull that is absolute. Your energy is like a dark, beautiful, magnetic force, and this person is caught right in the center of your orbit. Even from afar, they feel you. I am sensing that for many of you, this person experiences phantom touches or sudden, inexplicable shifts in their mood. They could be in the middle of a crowded room, laughing with friends, completely distracted by the mundane 3D world, and suddenly, their stomach drops. Suddenly, your name flashes in their mind, or they get this overwhelming wave of your essence washing over them. They feel this tug right in their solar plexus. It feels like you are sitting right next to them in an empty room. This is the unspoken, psychic connection playing out. They might even subconsciously blame you for it. They might think, why one and oppos? T Scorpio let me go. Why are they doing this to me? When in reality, you are an and oppos, T doing anything intentionally. It is simply the sheer magnitude of the karmic imprint you left on them. Their soul is reaching out to yours across the distance, and when their soul touches your energy field, they feel it as a physical pull. It is a quiet, haunting kind of obsession. They are trying to go about their normal life, but you are the background music to every single thought they have. You are the ghost lingering in the corner of their mind, and they cannot exorcise your memory, no matter how hard they try. Which brings us directly to the fifth message, and this one is so heavy with that push-pull, situationship, or runner-chaser dynamic. It says, running only makes the psychic tether pull us closer. There is such a profound irony in this energy. I am definitely picking up on a runner energy here. This person got scared. The intimacy, the depth, the X-ray vision you possess, it was too much for their nervous system to handle all at once, so they did what human beings often do when faced with the unknown. They retreated. They ran into distractions. Maybe they threw themselves into their work. Maybe they ran to other, more superficial connections that didn't end oppos. Demand so much of their soul. Or maybe they just built a fortress of isolation. But here is the cosmic joke, Scorpio. The universe found you too with a psychic tether. Think of it like a massive, indestructible elastic band. When two people are standing close together, there is no tension on the band. It's relaxed. But the moment one person turns and tries to sprint in the opposite direction, what happens? The tension builds. The friction intensifies. The further they try to run from you physically or emotionally, the tighter that tether pulls on their spirit. They are realizing, perhaps with a lot of frustration and exhaustion, that running from you is entirely futile. Out of sight does not mean out of mind. For them, out of sight means deeply, obsessively embedded in the subconscious. The distance didn't end oppos. Dilute their feelings. It concentrated them. It fermented them into something undeniable. They are finding that the harder they try to suppress the thought of you, the more violently those thoughts erupt to the surface when they are alone in the dark. They are exhausted from fighting the current. They thought moving away would break the spell, but it only proved to them that the spell is unbreakable. The psychic tether is yanking them backward, forcing them to look at the very connection they are trying to escape. Let and oppos go deeper into why they felt the need to run in the first place. Let and oppos look at message number 6. This says, "My ego shattered the moment our eyes finally met." Wow. Okay, this is beautiful, but it is also a profoundly painful process for this person. We are talking about absolute ego death. Before you came along, Scorpio, this person likely had a very solid grip on who they thought they were. They might have been very composed, deeply rational, or perhaps they wore a mask of being untouchable. They had a persona that kept them safe. They knew how to play the game of love or attraction, keeping things surface level, keeping the power securely in their own hands. And then you looked at them. You didn't end oppos. Just look at their physical body. Your Scorpio gaze pierced straight through the armor they spent a lifetime building. You looked at them and saw the frightened, beautiful, complex soul hiding underneath all that bravado. The moment that happened, their ego shattered like glass on a tile floor. They realized in a split second that none of their usual defense mechanisms, none of their charm, and none of their walls were going to work on you. You demand authenticity just by breathing. This shattering of the ego left them feeling entirely naked and incredibly vulnerable. It is terrifying to stand before someone who sees your absolute truth when you have been hiding it even from yourself. They realized that to be with you, to truly engage with this connection, they couldn't and oppos. Bring their representative. They had to bring their true self. And that realization brought them to their knees. It is a deeply humbling energy. They're obsessed with you because you are the only one who has ever truly seen them, but they are terrified of you for the exact same reason. The ego wants to stay in control, but the soul wants to surrender to you. And right now, in this silence, in this distance, the soul is winning the battle. The shattered pieces of their ego are being swept away, making room for a much more authentic version of themselves to emerge. Because their ego has shattered, they are now left in this incredibly raw, exposed, and vulnerable state. The illusions they used to comfort themselves have burned away. And when the smoke clears, you are left with the undeniable truth of the situation. That brings us perfectly into the energy of the 7th message. Let and oppos look at this together. This says, there is no hiding from what this connection demands. I want you to really feel the weight of the word demands. This connection is not a casual suggestion from the universe. It is not something you can just put on a shelf and deal with later. It is an absolute requirement for their soul and oppos' evolution and yours as well. It feels like this person has spent a considerable amount of time trying to negotiate with destiny. They might have tried to bargain with their own feelings, thinking, maybe I can just be friends with Scorpio, or maybe if I ignore it, it will fade into a normal, manageable crush. But the universe does not negotiate with soul contracts. This connection demands absolute authenticity. It demands that they rise to your level, Scorpio. You operate in the depths, in the emotional Mariana Trench, and they have been dog paddling in the shallow end for far too long. To truly merge with your energy, to be worthy of standing beside you, they have to learn how to dive. They have to face the pressure of the deep water. There is nowhere left for them to hide. They can end oppos, hide in their distractions anymore, because those distractions feel incredibly hollow now. They can end oppos, hide in other connections, because anyone else they try to be with simply ISN and oppos, you. It feels empty. It feels like they are reading a script while their heart is somewhere else completely. This connection is demanding that they take off the final mask. It is forcing emotional clarity upon them. They are realizing that the pain of staying stagnant and hiding from this truth is now far greater than the fear of stepping into the unknown with you. The universe is gently, but very firmly, cornering them into a space of emotional honesty. Let me go deeper into this mutual energy, because this next message is crucial for you, Scorpio. This ISN and oppos, just about them. This reads, we are mirroring each other and oppos, deepest wounds and desires. This is the ultimate karmic mirror. Yes, you triggered them immensely. You forced them to look at their shadow. But I am sensing that the exact same thing happened to you. This person, in their own unique way, reflected something back to you that you needed to heal. Maybe their runner energy triggered a deeply buried fear of abandonment within you. Maybe their silence triggered your control issues, because as a Scorpio, you want to know the hidden truth, and being denied that truth makes you feel profoundly unsafe. Or perhaps, what they mirrored back to you was your own immense capacity for unconditional love, a depth of desire you didn't and oppos, even realize you possessed until they unlocked it. You see, a connection this intense is never one-sided. It is a synchronized dance of healing. What you judge in them, you might be struggling to accept within yourself. When they run, they might be reflecting your own subconscious fear of truly letting someone see your soft underbelly. You project power and mystery, Scorpio, but beneath that exoskeleton is a fiercely sensitive, incredibly tender heart. This person saw that. And the sheer vulnerability of being seen that clearly might have terrified you just as much as it terrified them. You both want the exact same thing, a love that consumes, a loyalty that transcends lifetimes, an absolute merger of souls. But you both carry wounds that whisper, it and oppos, not safe to trust. This period of separation or intense tension is not a punishment. The energy suggests it is a divine timeout. It is an opportunity for both of you to look into the mirror the other provided, to clean out the psychic wounds, and to realize that you are both fighting the exact same battle. You are mirroring the trauma, yes, but you are also mirroring the ultimate desire for complete, fearless union. Which brings us to our final message. The culmination of all this heavy, beautiful, transformative energy. This says, this was and oppos, just love, it was a profound awakening. Okay, I am getting chills with this one. Take a deep breath with me. Breathe this truth into your heart center. Scorpio, what you have experienced with this person. To reduce it to a simple label like love or romance feels almost insulting to the energy. What happened here was an initiation. It was a spiritual awakening disguised as a connection. Before this person came into your life, you might have been operating on autopilot in certain areas. You might have been settling for less than your soul and oppos' absolute capacity. But this collision? It woke you up. It shattered the matrix. It forced you to question your boundaries, your self-worth, your spiritual beliefs, and your understanding of how energy actually works. Even if this connection brought you to your knees in tears, even if it frustrated you to the point of exhaustion, look at who you are becoming because of it. Look at the immense power you have reclaimed. Look at the boundary lines you have drawn in the sand. Look at how deeply you have traveled into your own shadow and returned with pure gold. This person was a catalyst. The energy suggests that their higher self agreed to play this incredibly difficult, sometimes painful role in your life so that you would be forced to step into your ultimate power. And you did the same for them. Whether this connection manifests into a physical, traditional 3D relationship moving forward, or whether it remains a profound spiritual anchor in your past, its purpose has been fulfilled. It broke you open, not to leave you broken, but so the light could finally get in. It cracked the hard shell around your heart so that the true, majestic, rising phoenix energy of your Scorpio soul could finally take flight. I want to close this reading by speaking directly to your spirit right now. Draw your energy back to yourself. Imagine all the energy you have sent out to this person, all the obsessive thoughts, the late night wondering, the heavy emotions. Imagine pulling all of that back into your own physical body. Call your power back. You are a master of transformation. You are the alchemist of the zodiac. You do not need to wait for them to figure it out. You do not need to wait in the silence. Ground yourself in the undeniable truth that you are inherently worthy of a connection that meets you in the depths, without hesitation and without fear. Rest in your power, Scorpio. Trust your intuition, because it has not lied to you once during this entire journey. You know exactly what this is. Let the universe handle the logistics, and you focus on tending to the beautiful, magnificent fire within your own soul.